So the current wisdom on obesity right now is perfectly exemplified by a Harvard Medical School website, and it kind of indicates the title of the article is "Why People Become Overweight," and I want to show you guys that right now. Okay, so what you see here is Harvard Medical School's, and basically this is why people become overweight. You see a number of factors here they talk about, and the big one is always the calorie equation. And what that means is if you are supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day um, and you eat more than that, you're going to become overweight, basically proportional to the amount you overeat. So that's fine, but it doesn't get to the why at all. I mean, this is quite obvious. This is the first law of thermodynamics. What comes in, the energy that comes into a system, the system being your body, has to equal the energy coming out of the system. So the people at Harvard, they say, okay, well, genetic influences. You know, if mom and dad are overweight, you're more likely to be overweight. So I say that the genetic influences, blah blah blah, and basically, if your parents are large, you're kind of screwed here. And kind of just explains this. There's another theory, and that is thrifty genes. So the idea is that if you're able to accumulate fat better than your peers, you'll be able to survive in a wilderness environment where food is scarce, and it depends on you and your group to hunt food and take it down and eat as much as possible and become as fat as possible for the famine that is about to occur until you can find that next deer or whatever to kill. Okay, so there's another theory. It's called the environmental cause of obesity, and that is if your mother was a smoker and while you were in the womb, you're more likely to be overweight. If your mother didn't breastfeed you, you're more likely to be overweight. And there's food everywhere. Um, driving down the highway, if you want to eat a delicious 2,000 calorie, extremely palatable meal, you just pull in 10 minutes later. You've got your burger and fries, your milkshake, and your brownie, and you're good to go. And that would be about enough calories to survive you for you to survive the whole day, and you're just eating it um, for dinner. Not to mention that you're probably not even full after you eat it. It's exercise, so people are not exercising enough. You know, we're not getting out there. We're not walking to work. We're driving our cars everywhere. We're in the suburbs. I mean, you can drive your car to the grocery store. You can literally, almost literally, not use your legs at all during the entire day, and you'll be fine. TV. So we're snacking and watching TV. We're stressed out. Americans are more stressed out than ever. But it doesn't explain this. So since 1976 to 1980, obesity has been on the warpath. You can see here, everybody is getting fatter like it's their job. So why? So I just showed you kind of the old theory of obesity, and that is, or the kind of the current theory of obesity, and that is basically you are shoveling too much food into your mouth, and you're not doing anything about it. You're not exercising. You're not doing anything else. So if you see here, kind of in the 1970s is when obesity started to rise, and before it was pretty flat. Americans were like a normal sized nation, just like um, people are in Asia right now, or to a lesser extent in France or one of these other European countries where the full-fledged American diet has not hit them. So I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you. This is 1970. 5 and prior, this is what a person ate. How they ate. So they had breakfast, they fasted, they had lunch, they fasted, they had dinner, and they fasted. And this is the obesity. This is taken out of a book called The Obesity Code by Jason Fung. So you have here periods of low insulin, and most of the day you have a period of low insulin, and your body can get used to a state of no insulin. Okay, the current state of affairs is this. You have breakfast, and breakfast now is almost 80% carbohydrates. You have insulin. Okay, you're hungry because carbs don't fill you up. And you have snack. Insulin's higher. Then you have lunch. Insulin's high. Another snack. Insulin's high. Dinner. Insulin's high. And a snack before bed because you don't want to go to bed with those slight hunger pains. You only have 6 hours where there's no insulin floating around. And what occurs is something that during my pharmacological study, there's something called downregulation of receptors. Basically what that is if you continue to hit the targets of insulin, which are receptors, these little receptors on your fat tissue, what will occur is they will downregulate. So over time, your body is completely used to high insulin, and it basically gets used to it. Just like if you've heard, drug addicts have to continue to take higher and higher amounts of drug. They become kind of tolerant to the drug, just like we're kind of becoming tolerant to insulin. So kind of the new theory that sort of emerged about hunger, and as it's related to diabetes, is all around insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is basically a state that normal people can be in, people that are not diagnosed with any illness. And what it is, it's almost like a state of pre-diabetes, and what occurs there is when you're in a state of insulin resistance, insulin's always higher, like I said before, and you're constantly being hungry because what does insulin do? Insulin makes you hungry, and insulin stores fat. So you always have that insulin around, and that's why, being kind of obese is actually a struggle because you're trying to satisfy yourself with food that's not that satisfying. It's high in carbs, releases high amounts of insulin, and so you're always just kind of hungry all the time. Now, if you stop that and as an experiment and you say, okay, well, I'm just going to have a meal without carbs, what you'll kind of notice is you'll probably be craving carbs because you're used to it, but you'll also notice that you'll be more full afterwards and you won't be as hungry later for that snack. And I think what is occurring is, as I showed before, in the 1970s, that's when kind of this whole snack craze started. That's when the low-fat craze started. So what's occurring now is we're eating low-fat, high-carb meals around the clock, and it's making us all hungry all the time. It's making us fatter, and it's causing us to get diabetes. 100 million Americans right now are pre-diabetes. Who knows how many more are on that kind of path to become pre-diabetic. So I want to thank you guys for watching Jeff the Pharmacist. Please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.